story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. In our major story, the All Progressives Congress shifts its national convention to Lagos, event to hold on December 10th and 11th. Also in this program, the Independent National Electoral Commission says security advice will determine the conduct of the 2015 elections in the Northeast. And it's some good news as Nigeria makes improvement of the Corruption Perception Index. And outside Nigeria, United States Secretary of State John Kerry says airstrikes have inflicted significant damage on the Islamic State. Thanks for joining us on the CoreTV Primetime News tonight. Nigeria's leading opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, has now formally opted for Lagos as the venue of its national convention. It also disclosed that over 8,000 delegates are expected to participate in the process that will lead to the emergence of the party's presidential candidate on December 10 and 11. Chairman of the National Convention Committee and former Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi disclosed this to journalists in Abuja after a closed-door meeting with all the presidential aspirants. He also maintained that all the aspirants are in support of the decision to shift the elective convention from Abuja to Lagos. In spite of his initial opposition, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has now backed the choice of Lagos as the venue for the presidential primaries of the All Progressives Congress slated for December 10. Atiku said in a statement by his media office in Abuja on Wednesday that he is not only delighted that Lagos has been selected to host the elective convention, but is also confident that the city has all it takes to make the event memorable and successful. The former vice president added that having spent several years of his public service in Lagos, the city is like a home to him. He also described himself as a Lagosian, especially as a part of his large family lives were there, while noting that he is not a stranger to the cosmopolitan city and what it represents as the melting pot of Nigeria. And Nigeria's leading opposition party, the APC, has cleared all 5 presidential aspirants to participate in the forthcoming national convention. All of them were also handed clearance certificates to signify the right to jostle for the party's presidential ticket on December 10. Chairman of the 8-member screening committee, Ogunaya Onu, handed over the certificates to all the aspirants before shedding light on the performance at the screening.
Screening committee met with 5 very distinguished Nigerians and members of the APC seeking the nomination of the party to contest for the position of President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. During that exercise, we found that these men are so distinguished that there is not one of them that will not make a great difference for our nation. I want to also reveal to you that the score was very narrow and very high. The least scored 62% and the highest scored 78%. Even the second scored 77% and the third scored 75%. So you can see how close it was.
We went through the mill yesterday. I suspect each one of us not less than an hour on foreign affairs, on security, on economy, on the impact of what our personal decisions are to the polity. It's a very trying time, I believe, for the five of us, but we are grateful that they have been very generous in their award of marks.
The All Progressives Congress has now described the second raid on its Lagos data office by operatives of the DSS as the height of impunity. Oluwaseyi Adegoke met with the Lagos APC chairman Henry Ajumale on the development and brought back this report.
For the second time in 2 weeks, operatives of the DSS again stormed the APC office in Lagos and broke into their storage facility, carting away 30 bags filled with APC membership registration forms. The Lagos APC chairman, Henry Ajumale, who confirmed the developments, slams the DSS operatives for disrespecting the rule of law.
I wonder why they purposely targeted Lagos. It's not the first time. This is the second time they are coming, and the cartel with so many of them, despite the court injunctions, they just went to do whatever they like to do. I just believe that there's nobody above the law in this country. We must respect the rule of law. If you want to have a good and democratic country, we must respect the rule of law.
CoreTV News could not gain access to the raided office as it was placed on the lock. But is there any particular reason for this? Taking into consideration that the same office was open for journalists to ascertain the level of attack aftermath the first raid by the DSS operatives.
It was locked because they came to raid all the materials that they are using. All our staffs that were taken are still very much afraid to come back to the office because we ask them to stay away because we don't know when they are coming to raid them again.
Two Lagos-based lawyers, Wale Ogunade and Monday Ubani, also condemned the act put on by the DSS operatives.
Impunity, this is affront. Well, looking at the law, that's contempt. You see, my problem is with government agencies. They behave as if they are above the law. So, if some people think that they're in government and in power today, and they trample on the law with impunity, we will continue to do our work. But we know that very soon they are chicken.
But I think this is condemnable. It is despicable. It is not. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be tolerated. And we must insist that the proper thing be done. Let us know what their findings have always been. What have you found out with the first raid you did? Now even the second raid, their silence is to speak volumes. Why are you keeping silent? You owe us an explanation. This DSS is under the law, and they are working for Nigeria. That is the thing. So they must be accountable to us.
The raid, in the opinions of many, is an unwelcoming sign of what to expect ahead the 2015 general elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Aggrieved aspirants of the People's Democratic Party from Rivers State have sued the party's national secretariat while demanding the removal of the state leadership of the party, Felix Obo. The protesters also want the PDP Deputy National Chairman Uche Secondos removed from office for undermining the recent party primaries. The protesters, who vowed to stay put at the party secretariat in Abuja, insisted that the national leadership should disregard the result of the primaries, which they claim was skewed in favor of former Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike.
So that if you have any misgiving, you approach the appeal panel. That same appeal panel, under that Article 25, is supposed to submit its own report within 48 hours. Here we are, being screened on the 6th. We have waited, no word from our party. After buying forms for 6 million, I'm a lawyer. Having crisscross, writing briefs, 2 million naira, both form, no word. Until on the 28th of this month, 29th is the day I announced by our party for the primaries. So on the 28th, we have to come to National Secretariat. What is happening? Where is our clearance certificate so that we can participate in the election?
In the River State House of Assembly, we are supposed to have at least 11 women in the House. And as it stands now, we don't have even one. So we are totally against that. We, the women, we are calling from our national leader, the woman, to our president's wife, Mrs. Jonathan, to do something about the women because we are not happy. We, the Rivers women, we are not happy. And God must surely hear our cry because today we have come. And we are not in a hurry to go until this issue is being resolved.
The truth about it is that the Felix Obua led administration in Rivers State is actually working towards disenfranchising people who are legit to run these offices. For me as an individual, I ran for the local government chairmanship in Ikwere local government area in 2007 under the platform of PDP, and I was screened and cleared to run the election. This time around, I picked a form worth over 3 million to run for the Federal House of Representatives. And till date, as I talk to you, I don't know if I've been cleared or disqualified. And our primaries will be coming up on Saturday.
Aggrieved aspirants of the PDP there from Rivers State. Former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Bamanga Tuko, whose bid to return to office 10 months after his resignation was dismissed by a federal high court in Abuja on Tuesday, says it would appeal against the court's judgment. Speaking through his lawyer, Adeboru Adamson, Tuko says the notice of appeal would be filed in the Court of Appeal Abuja on Thursday. Tuko had asked the Federal High Court to declare his resignation on January 15, 2014 as null and void, as same flouted the provisions of the Constitution, which required that a 30-day pre-resignation notice must be given to the National Executive Committee of the party. He had also asked the court to void the appointment of the incumbent national chairman of the party, Alhaji Adamu Muazu, on the grounds that his appointment flouted the provisions of Section 45, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the party's constitution, which makes it mandatory for the party's chairman to emerge at a national convention. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the conduct of the 2015 general elections in the Northeast states will depend on advice from security agencies. Chairman of INEC, Atahiru Jaga, while speaking to newsmen in an interview with journalists during the opening ceremony of a two-day strategic stakeholders policy dialogue on promoting peaceful elections in 2015, says elections will only go ahead if security agencies guarantee the safety of its officers. Jaga says he hopes that the various security challenges currently facing the country would have been addressed before the start of the 2015 general elections to give way for a free and safe conduct of the polls. He also disclosed that the Commission is putting machinery in place towards ensuring that the internally displaced persons register and participate fully in the forthcoming polls. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. You're on to CoreTV Primetime News, and here's a reminder of some of our top stars. The All Progressives Congress shifted National Convention to Lagos, event to hold on December 10th and 11th. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says security advice will determine the conduct of the 2015 elections in the Northeast. Nigeria makes improvement on the Corruption Perception Index. Welcome back. Now, the people of Kebe Tambuwa Federal Constituency of Sokoto State have stalled proceedings in the suit filed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwa, to challenge the withdrawal of his police adlies. When hearing resumed in the suit on Wednesday, Tambuwa's constituents told the court through the lawyers that they had filed separate applications for a stay of proceedings in the suit. The applications were meant to serve notice to their court of an appeal against its decision to deny them the right to join the suit as defendants. The legal teams of Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State, the APC and INEC and the ongoing Osun State Election Petition Tribunal have faulted the final analysis presented by the forensic expert hired by the People's Democratic Party. The forensic expert presented result analysis for 1,842 polling units instead of 912 polling units in 17 local government areas under contention. The forensic expert Bakare Pius was one of the star witnesses of the PDP and governorship candidate Iyola Omisore. Pius, during cross-examination, agreed that there were erroneous entries in his analysis, but argued that this did not affect his conclusion. Counsel to the PDP gubernatorial candidate Iyola Omisore, Nathaniel Oke, agrees that the error would not have any negative effect on their case, but counsel to Governor Rauf Aregbesola Akinolujimi says the petitioners have shot themselves in the foot with the errors detected in the forensic analysis. The Ekiti State Police Command says it has rearrested 67 escapees from Monday's attack on the federal prison at Ado-Ekiti. The command also says investigation is underway to determine the motive behind the attack. The attack has, however, led to growing calls from the people in Ekiti for a revamp of intelligence gathering techniques of security agencies across the nation. Rashid has more in this report.
A visit to federal prison at Ado-Ekiti shows that all is calm, but beneath it all is the evident apprehension that people still live in after the attack, which led to over 300 inmates fleeing the facility, which holds 437 inmates altogether. The Ekiti State Police Command, however, says investigation has begun into the attack.
A full-scale investigation has commenced into that case. We want to find out at our level what led to the attack. Is there any complicity or complacency on the part of some people? And we'll find out all that has got to do with that escape of prisoners.
The police command says it has also rearrested some of the over 300 escapees.
The Commissioner of Police led a team of policemen to a particular hideout, black spot, where we had information that these escapees were hiding. And there we were able to arrest the notorious ones. That these are people that are facing armed robbery cases. These are people that are facing murder charges. We've been able to arrest up to 67 of the escapees. Not in one place. They were arrested all across the state.
While many will wonder what really happened on Monday, Fatimat Raji Rasaki says the prison attack should not be seen for what it is and not giving any coloration, either political or otherwise.
I believe it's a sabotage. You know, we should not mix up politics with the lives of the people. It's a kind of sabotage, which I totally condemn the act. I will still employ the government that they should check very well. They should, it's total overhauling of these security agencies, because they are the ones that are harboring these things. Either they are aware of it before, either they have a pre-knowledge of all these incidents or whatever, because it's a slap on them.
Starting with the rearrest of 67 escapees out of the over 300, the journey for the police and the prison authorities to determine the motive behind Monday's attack is just starting. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has vowed to wipe off Boko Haram if he becomes president on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. Speaking at an interactive session with executives of the Arawa Consultative Forum in Kaduna on Wednesday, the APC presidential aspirant says Boko Haram is not a hard nut to crack. Rochas, who is seeking the support of elders of northern Nigeria for his aspiration, also made a case for peaceful coexistence in the country. He added that he was in the race to make changes to Nigerian politics, irrespective of tribe and religion. The Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy says there is no hiding place for economic saboteurs who are endangering the country's economic prosperity. Flag officer of the command, Sami Alade, made this known at an interactive session with journalists at the command's headquarters in Apapa after a parade of suspects intercepted with products suspected to be stolen crude oil. Omotayo Alo was at the command's headquarters and brought back this report.
These men were intercepted by the Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy in the early hours of Tuesday after an intelligence report. The vessel, which was intercepted with products suspected to be crude oil, also had on board 3 suspected hijackers armed with 2 pump-action rifles and other ammunition, along with a 14-man crew on the MV Long Island vessel outside the Lagos bar.
They used my vessel to go and siphon another hijacked vessel. So I now tricked them when my bunker finished. I tricked them that they will get bunker at Lagos Anchorage. So they agreed. So on my way down to Lagos, coming down to Shallow, to the breakers, the Naval Patrol on duty yesterday, P255, arrested me. It took about 12 hours before they could finish everything. So after that, they asked me to disembark and be heading deep.
This man is the one that called us to the boat. The boat will carry our government, this boat. They don't already load and finish before we can't go there. They say we should come and do security for them. And when we reach there, when we don't deal with them like 3 days, so we can't tell them, say, this week on the 5th, we get party, so we won't go down. They can't say they don't feel allow us to go down. Say, maybe they can't Lagos. So far our boat don't sink. Say, maybe they can't Lagos. Say, we go drop for Lagos. And so far we be say, we know, I know say no be thief or go thief. Now make me say, me I follow them to Lagos here.
Notwithstanding the testimony from the suspects, the flag officer commanding of the Western Naval Command, Sami Alade, stressed the command's zero tolerance for crimes against the country's main source of revenue.
At the end of our investigation, the suspects, the vessel, and of course the stolen product will be handed over to the appropriate prosecuting agency for further investigation and possible prosecution. The Nigerian Navy also wants to use this medium to call for useful information from the general public that could lead to more arrests of these criminals.
With the huge losses the country has suffered due to activities of oil vandals, the Nigerian Navy advised Nigerians to quit being the country's enemy.
Right behind me here is a vessel that was recently intercepted by the Nigerian Navy Western Naval Command, carrying products suspected to be crude oil.
For naval officers, Nigerians should not use unemployment as an excuse to engage in activities that further endangers the prosperity of the country's economy. Omotayiwalo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
FCT Minister Bilal Mohammed has directed the contractor handling the construction of new residencies for presiding officers of the National Assembly to complete the houses before May 29, 2015. The minister issued this directive during an inspection tour of the national houses and other structures under construction in Abuja. He said that the completion notice is to ensure that the buildings are ready before the new dispensation of the National Assembly begins. The project, which costs 24 billion naira, includes the residencies of the Senate President with banquet hall, Speaker of the House of Representatives with banquet hall, as well as those of Deputy Senate President and Deputy Speaker. Each residential compound comprises a 5-bedroom main building with a swimming pool and lawn tennis court, 3-bedroom residence for ADCs, a 3-bedroom guest house, 4-bedroom staff quarters, and a gate house. Well, it's good news for Nigeria, as the country has now recorded some improvement in the Global Corruption Perception Index, according to Transparency International. The Global Anti-Corruption Watchdog says in its latest report that the country is now 136th on the list of least corrupt country, same as Russia, Lebanon, and Kyrgyzstan. The report shows a slight improvement on Nigeria's 144th ranking in 2013, 139th in 2012, and 143rd in 2011. Transparency International also ranks North Korea and Somalia as the joint most corrupt countries, rank of 174 countries. Denmark and New Zealand are the least corrupt countries on the Corruption Perception Index. In spite of dwindling oil revenue, the Federal Executive Council has approved several contracts in excess of 430 billion naira for the construction and rehabilitation of 17 highways and bridges across the country. The projects, which cut across 14 states, are said to be part of efforts to improve the nation's road network in line with the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan. Works Minister Mike Onolememe and Supervising Minister of Information Nuruddin Mohammed briefed State House correspondents on the outcome of the meeting, presided over by President Goodluck Jonathan.
The Federal Executive Council approved the awards of contracts for 17 strategic highways and bridges in different parts of the country at a total cost of about 430 billion naira to enhance the ongoing transformation of the road sector, catalyze economic activities, and bring about positive social change in different parts of our country. The details of the projects are as follows. 1. Construction of Bodoboni Road with bridges across Opobo Channel, Alpha Creek, and Nenambre Creek, otherwise known as Route 430 in Rivers State, to Mrs. Julius Berger PLC at a total cost of about 120.6 billion naira and a completion period of 58 months.
The third memo was also presented by the Minister of Nigerian Affairs, who presented the memo to seek Council's approval for the order of contract for the engineering supervision of the construction of East-West Road, Section 5, Oron Calabar, Phase 1 in Akwa Ibom and Rivers States. There is a budgetary. He informed Council that there is a budgetary position of 1.4 billion naira in the 2014 appropriation and the sum of $500 million being expected from the China Exim Bank for the project.
You're on to CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break now. I'll be back with business, sports, and other stories. Don't go away.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday.
is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Time now for some business. A consortium of 7 companies is now on the verge of taking over as the new owners of Nigeria's moribund telecommunications outfit Nitel and its mobile arm Mtel. This was after the Bureau of Public Enterprises (BPE) accepted its revised bid of $252.25 million at the opening of financial bids in Abuja. NATCOM Consortium bidder emerged the preferred bidder after the second pre-qualified bidder was disqualified for failing to submit a bid bond of $10 million. The bid comes on the heels of government's decision to adopt a guided liquidation strategy after 4 previous failed attempts since 2000.
This has gone through a competitive bidding process. There were 17 people that started, 15 fell on the wayside. 2 got it through the technical stage. 1 was knocked out during the for non-submission of a valid bid bond. So the whole process had a competitive push into it, which tells us that this is probably the best we can get for Nitel today.
What I can tell Nigerians is that with this asset in the hand of the private sector, we will make it work. We will create more opportunities for employment. We will create enhanced telecommunication opportunities, for enhanced data, for enhanced mobile, and what have you. We will deploy the latest technologies in the telecom space. We will make Nigerians to have more choices in this sector.
Nigeria's Petroleum Resources Minister Dezeni Alisi Madikwe says it's a big challenge being the president of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. This, according to her, is not only because of falling oil prices, but also because of the economic situation in many OPEC countries. The minister spoke with State House correspondents after this week's Federal Executive Council meeting.
This is a very challenging time, as you know, for OPEC and for the global crude oil world as a whole. Quite clearly, there has been a battle of wills between certain OPEC countries, the big players, and certain non-OPEC countries who are big players in the world's crude production markets at this time. So it is a challenging time to take over as OPEC president. And our prayer, of course, is that we will be able to stabilize the crude oil prices per barrel over this period, because it is critical, as many countries, both OPEC and non-OPEC producing countries, are suffering immensely. Even as we speak, Venezuela has gone into austerity measures and is rationing food because they are completely dependent on oil. Angola, Algeria, Iran are all under duress, as is Nigeria.
The Central Bank of Nigeria says the reintroduction of the automated teller machine charges has now pushed up the usage of other payment channels in the financial services sector. A breakdown of the usage, such as point-of-sales transaction, increased from 23.34 billion naira in August to 28.15 billion naira in October 2014. For mobile money payment, it increased from 28.3 billion naira in August 2014 to 34.39 billion naira in October 2014. But in Abuja, there has been a decrease in the volume of ATM transactions in October, declining to 311.8 billion naira from 244.9 billion naira in August 2014. Head Payment System Policy and Oversight Division of Banking and Payment System Department, CBN, Musa Jimo, disclosed this in his presentation on reintroduction of ATM charges and its implications on cashless policy at a 3-day workshop organized by Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation in Katsina State. It's time now to join Sabena Izoku for the stock market report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izoku. Equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All Shares Index dipped by 0.88% to close at 33,255.67 basis points. Market capitalization decreased in the same manner to close at 10.97 trillion naira. In all, 258.7 million units of shares valued at 4.7 billion naira were exchanged in 3,965 deals. PZ topped the gainers chart to close at 31 naira 97 kobo, with a difference of 2 naira 97 kobo, followed by Flour Mill, Ashake Cement, Nigerian Aviation Holdings Company, and Interna Gas. On the loser side, Dangote Cement topped the losers chart, followed by 7-Up, 40 Oil, Guinness, and International Breweries. On the trader side, Guaranteed Trust Bank topped the traders chart, followed by First Bank Nigerian Holdings, Stanbic, United Bank for Africa, and Cornerstone. To wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency exchange rate for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. Now, Brownson Uwana is standing by to keep you up to date with top sports stories. Don't go away.
A very big thanks for joining us on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Uwana. The Golden Eaglets are expected in camp on December 14 for the preparation of the CAF Under-17 Championship to be hosted in Niger between February 15th and March 1st, 2015. The Under-17 national team are the defending world champions, having won the FIFA Under-17 World Cup last year in the United Arab Emirates after defeating Mexico 3-0 in the finals. The race to the next World Cup finals, to be hosted by Chile, will hot up in the Niger Republic, and the Eaglets are among the 8 countries that will vie for the 4th slot to be filled by Africa. Eaglet media officer Morakinyo Aboduri said everything is set for the camping exercise, that the players that would be called up for its commencement have been communicated. Lotco has launched his manifesto for elections into the IAAF presidency, promising to transform the athletic calendar and attract more young people into the sports. Co, a vice president of Athletic World Governing Body, is bidding to succeed Lamin Dag in 2015. The proposed reform were outlined by Coles in London on Wednesday. He said the plans were designed to increase the appeal of athletics in a world that is rapidly changing. Finally, on Sport News tonight, in the world of cricket, cricketing luminaries bid an emotional farewell to Phil Hughes at a funeral service held in his hometown Wednesday, as Australia stopped to remember the popular batsman whose death from a freak injury sent shockwaves through the sport. A lone cricket bat rested against the coffin at a packed service in his former high school hall in Maxville on the New South Wales coast, in front of his heartbroken parents and friends and a shattered Australian Test team. Hughes, who had played 26 tests and was the verge of recall, died from bleeding on his brain last Thursday after being hit on the base of skull by a rushing ball at the Sydney Cricket Ground. His tragic death stunned Australia, where cricket is considered the national game. That's a wrap on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Uwana. A very big thanks for watching.
Thank you, Brownson. We'll take another break now, and I'll be back with top story outside Nigeria. Stick around.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Outside Nigeria now, United States Secretary of State John Kerry says airstrikes carried out by the U.S.-led coalition on Islamic State ISIS have inflicted significant damage on the group's capabilities. Kerry says the campaign against the militant group could take years, but that the coalition would remain engaged as long as it takes, while the U.S. also confirmed that Iran, who is not a member of the coalition, has also carried out airstrikes against the group, though Iran says it's not true. The United States also says the coalition or its own forces did not coordinate with the Iranians on the strikes. The U.S. said there had been no coordination with the Iranians on any airstrikes against the ISIS, which controls large areas of Syria and Iraq, while imposing a rigid version of Sunni Islam and persecuting and killing alleged non-believers. Kerry, who spoke at the meeting in Brussels of foreign ministers and officials from all of the nations involved in the coalition, says 2 months of airstrikes have reduced the leadership and inflicted significant damage on the group's logistical and operational capabilities. But Syrian President Bashar al-Assad disagrees with the impact of the airstrikes, which he says are ineffective, in a rare interview with a French magazine. Before we go on the news tonight, a reminder of our major stories. Reported that the All Progressives Congress have now shifted its national convention to Lagos. The event is to hold on December 10th and 11th. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said security advice will determine the conduct of the 2015 elections in the Northeast. And it's good news as Nigeria has made improvement on the Corruption Perception Index. And that wraps it tonight. On behalf of the production crew, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.